Hey, your organization is implementing AI agents, but can you answer these simple questions? What can each agent access? Which ones are actually being used? And how much are they actually costing you in compute, API calls, or licenses? Today, I want to talk to you on why you need a control plane for AI agents. Thanks for watching this quick video. My name is Bruno. I'm one of the co-founders here at Raia, and I want to talk to you a little bit on why you need to implement a control plane for your AI agents today. And to give a little bit of context, let's dive into history. Every generation of infrastructure brought speed, but they also brought sprawl. First, it was VMs. Suddenly, everyone could spin one up, and before long, companies were running thousands with no ownership, no visibility, and extremely hard to control scale and cost. Then containers came along, they were faster, lighter, but now you had hundreds of clusters, version drift, and your engineering teams basically drowning in toil to keep things running. And the same is happening again now with AI agents. If you look at the reality within your organization, your developers are building AI agents. Your operations teams are basically experimenting with it, and business teams across your organization are probably trying to chain these agents across different workflows. It all feels exciting until you zoom out of it. When you look at it, the reality is that you don't know what each agent can access. You don't know which ones are actually being used. And you don't know what they're costing you in compute, API calls, or licenses. And the real kicker, fixing this later will cost you 10 times more in downtime, wasted spend, and engineering hours than putting these controls in place now. And there's a big shift in developer reality. This isn't just about developers anymore. Marketing teams, finance, and support teams will all be building workflows on top of these agents. And that means for your engineering teams, you inherit the responsibility for things you didn't even create. And without visibility and controls, you're firefighting blind. And if you're a leader in your organization, you are probably under the pressure from your leadership team to adopt AI. But without governance, it turns into chaos. You risk wasted budget, security incidents, and if you don't give them a way to properly consume these AI agents, adoption is gonna end up stalling out or dying. And that's why we built Raia, a control plane for AI agents, which you can use to build on top of existing agents that we provide out of the box, or you can onboard the MCP servers being built by your teams today. You can lock down context, resources, and permissions, so your agents, they don't run wild. You can track usage and cost per agent so you can show ROI and cut on waste. And you can give your teams a consistent way to consume these agents through chat, workflows, and dashboards. Plus, with the Raia Marketplace, the workflows and dashboards your teams build, they don't get buried. They can share internally or publicly, making the work visible and eliminating duplicate effort. Let's look at what it looks like from a Raia perspective. All right, we have Raia here in front of us. And you can sign up for Raia at app.raia.live, and you can get started for free and in just a few seconds. Once you sign up and you log in, you can come to connectors. Connectors is where you give agents access to your underlying infrastructure. And as you can see, we have pre-built agents that you can get up and running in just a few seconds. We have ones such as Jira, Okta, AWS, Google Cloud, GitHub, and others, or you can just as easily onboard MCP servers that your teams are building internally. Great. Now you can quickly bring those agents into a centralized control plane. You're onboarding your agents into Raia's control plane. But now comes the control part. How do I control my agents? And we've broken down agent control in 3 different parts. The first one is profiles. You can give your agents profiles, which is basically a guideline on how they should behave when connecting to that underlying system. For AWS, I'm giving a role description, so you can say it's a DevOps and SRE, and this is how you should behave and access the underlying APIs. Here are some guidelines for executions, data integrity, optimize requests. So it's giving them some guidelines on how to work with the underlying system. The second part is basically agent context. If we look as an example here, I have one called AWS ECS instruction. So I'm giving my agent instructions on if anyone asks for dev ECS cluster in AWS, this is the cluster that I'm referring to. This is the log that you should leverage. These are the services that you should specifically look for, and this is how you should work with these. So you gave your agents a profile and guidelines on how to execute. You gave your agent instructions. And the third one, which I'll make a separate video, you can use OPA or Open Policy Agent to detail instructions around how your agents should leverage the underlying infrastructure, block actions, and judge the responses that you're getting, both pre-processing and post-processing. And how do you give these agents access to your teams? They need to consume these agents, which is a problem today. As mentioned, many teams are now your marketing, finance, and support teams. They're going to become consumers, and they're going to develop on top of that. The first one is through dashboards. Your teams can build dashboards just using natural language. They can pick any of the counters available from a dashboard perspective, and they can use just natural language to see what they want. Easy. Once they build the dashboards, they can drill through that data. Because it's basically agents behind it, they can come here and say, okay, this is the workflow time that it's taking, right? From a GitHub DORA metrics dashboard. Give me the details on the releases. Give me details on the workflow time. So they can drill through the data and talk to the agent directly here. The second part is chat. They can basically chat with the agent, and any question is going to be routed through the control plane. The control plane has access to the different agents that you're giving that user access to, GitHub, Jira, Google Cloud, for example. So your user can cross-reference data across all of the agents directly through the chat. And they can use the chat directly here on the dashboard, or they can connect Raia to Slack or Teams and talk to the agent directly there, just like any other team member. And the third one is through automation. So they can chain these agents just using drag and drop and build workflows and use these agents to automate the work and remove the toil from their organization. Not only that, but they can come here and say, build these just dragging and dropping, but Raia gives you detailed information on how these agents are performing and what they're giving back. So for example, here you can see what type of agent is running, the time that it takes to run that specific action or activity. You can see the prompt that your team is building and the response that your agents are getting. You can chain data across different agents, AWS, GitHub, Jira, databases, and so on. You can have your agents create dashboards and charts for you, email the response, and include your team during the processing of any workflow as well, so you keep human in the loop. And now comes the enterprise part of the product, where you can see the execution history. So everything that is being happening, what's triggered, and how long it's taking, the status, and so on. You can see if you have agents scheduled to run tasks autonomously. You can see the audit trail of who is requesting what. And beyond that, you can see also AI consumption. So you can see what type of agents are being executed, how much tokens they are using, the success rate, and so on. So now your organization can really build AI agents at scale. This isn't just about control. It's about opportunity. For engineering teams, it's less toil, more visibility, more control, and the chance to drive a scalable AI initiative across the organization. And for leaders, it's a way to cut costs, provide ROI, and show your execs that your company is ahead of the curve. Companies that put Raia in place today will scale AI adoption safely, save money, and empower their teams. And the ones who wait will end up firefighting sprawl, explaining wasted budgets, and playing catch-up. We've seen this story with VMs, we've seen it with containers, and let's not repeat it with AI agents. Thanks for taking the time, and we'd love to work with you on this initiative.